Welcome to the Unfuck Your Fitness podcast. I am your host, Christy Castillo, and I'm here to give you real talk and cut the BS so you can actually enjoy building a body you love. I'm a personal trainer obsessed with giving you simple action steps to take you from feeling stuck to feeling sexy. Let's go. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to today's episode. Today we're going to be talking about why it is important to have a healthy relationship with food. I am so excited for this episode. I think that I am somewhat of a genius when it comes to this topic. Yes, of course, I'm kind of joking, but in all seriousness, I've done so much work to be able to have a healthy relationship with food, and I know how to teach it to my clients, and I'm going to give you some of that knowledge here in this episode, and I am so excited. Let me set the scene for you though a little bit here, just for a little dose of real talk. I am a little nasally, as I'm sure that you can tell. I'm not feeling the best. It is raining outside, so it's not a beautiful day. You may be able to hear that in the background is why I said that. Also, I typically record podcast episodes a couple at a time, or at least like almost a week in advance. I am recording this one on Monday and it will be released tomorrow. So I am feeling really behind as far as recording this. I'm not feeling the best physically or mentally, being honest. And the weather outside is shit. Not to add on to the weather situation. Well, I was out of town all weekend, which was super fun. But last week we didn't have power for a couple of days, which is why I didn't get this episode recorded when I wanted to. So things have just not been really working out for me as far as recording this podcast episode. So I'm feeling really behind as far as I need to get everything done and get this episode to sound and look and be what I want it to be before tonight so I can schedule it to go out tomorrow. So fingers crossed that everything will go well. I'm sure that it will. But the topic is what matters, and I'm really, really excited for it. But I just wanted to give you a little reality there and just let you know, this is what it looks like right now as I'm recording this. Kind of a mess. But here we are. We're going to do it anyway. It's the content that matters, right? Not the delivery. So why it is important to have a healthy relationship with food. Like I said, I feel like I am kind of a genius when it comes to this, and I say genius, but what I really mean is I've done the work to go from eating out of containers and being scared to death of food and, taking my food to restaurants with me so that I didn't have to eat off the menu and all of those crazy diet cycle things. A few of them I'm going to get into in this episode, to where I am now, to where I eat basically anything that I want. And yes, there were mental struggles that I had to work through as far as not understanding food and thinking that carbs were bad and I had to have a meal plan or eat off a food list. There were also physical struggles that I went through, really, really bad stomach issues where I had to be rushed to the emergency room because I was in so much pain, autoimmune issues, gut issues that I went to a doctor for I think it was 2 years of testing for them to basically tell me that I have IBS, which is, basically nothing. Basically everyone has IBS because of the quality of our food. So just a lot went into my journey with having a really bad relationship with food to now having a healthy relationship with food. A lot of mental, a lot of physical things, a lot of work, a lot of reprogramming, a lot of getting rid of, old beliefs and old things and unfollowing certain people that, talk about those things on social media that didn't serve me anymore. So basically just a lot. I have done a lot of work to get to where I am now, to be able to have a podcast where I can talk to you about having a healthy relationship with food. This is kind of bringing me full circle. Can I just appreciate for a second that going from where the relationship that I had with food, just bear with me for a second. I just thinking back on my relationship with food, it was terrible. I hope that you understand that I If you have a very unhealthy relationship with food, if you are scared to go out to eat, if you are scared of carbs, if you are any of the things, if you are stuck in a diet, if you don't understand food, let me just tell you, if I can do it, there is hope for you. Like, I'm just honestly appreciating the fact that I have a healthy relationship with food. And not only that, but I'm sharing it with you and teaching women how to have a healthy relationship with food. So I just needed a second. The fact that I've gotten myself out of that Beachbody food mindset that I used to have to be where I am now. It's just amazing. For example, like, I was obsessed with food. I didn't know how to make meals because I lived off of a food list. I didn't eat out. I would take my own food. I didn't eat at parties. I would eat before I went. I didn't know how to even eat. I didn't know anything about food. So I was in a really bad place with food. So there are 3 topics that I'm going to cover, like 3 reasons why it is important to have a healthy relationship with food. I'm just going to dive in. You don't need to write them down or anything. It's not going to be little points. But I am going to go into 3 different reasons, 3 different topics into detail about why I think, these are the top reasons why I believe that you should work toward, that it's important to, not that you should have a healthy relationship with food, but why it's important to have a healthy relationship with food. I think that we overlook the fact that it affects other people. It affects ourselves, but it affects other people as well. And I think that we overlook that a lot. It's just like, well, I don't do well with food. I really struggle with my relationship with food. I don't understand calories. I don't understand macros. I don't get it. Like, every client that comes to me is like, I really, really struggle with food. That's their biggest struggle, is nutrition. And it's really important that you get a handle on that. So let's dive in. Number 1 we're going to talk about is food is everywhere. You guys, this is an unpopular opinion probably in my career, where a lot of people are screaming about food quality and you should only eat whole foods and all the things in the world that I'm in, the personal training, nutrition, diet, health, and wellness space. And I am not saying that whole foods are bad, and I'm not saying that food quality doesn't matter, but I think it is equally important to enjoy food and to not fear food and to not restrict foods. Unless you have a dietary reason, an allergy to a food or something, you should not be afraid of certain foods. You should not restrict certain foods, and you should enjoy all food. I think that is equally as important as food quality. Should the majority of the foods that you are eating come from good food sources, come from high quality food sources, maybe even be whole foods? Yes, that would make you the healthiest version, technically the healthiest version of yourself. Eating whole foods would make you so freaking healthy on the inside. Like, there is no question that eating something that comes from the ground is healthier than something that is processed in a factory, in a food lab. I mean, I'm not arguing that at all, but food is everywhere, you guys. Parties, like everywhere basically that you go to enjoy company with your friends. If you go out to hang out with your friends, or if you go out with family to celebrate something, or, anything like that, food is involved. And for us to just say, I'm not going to understand food and I'm not going to enjoy the food at this party, or I'm not going to partake in this activity because of the food, and you fear it, is just, it's not only like sad and crazy, but it's just ridiculous. I mean, like, let's just get a handle on it so that you can go enjoy some time out with your friends and enjoy the company that you are having with others. I mean, there is something so good mentally. I always incorporate mental and physical together. And there's something so good mentally about hanging out with people that you love and enjoying the company of other people and being outside the home. And food is part of those environments. And so we have to get a handle on being able to enjoy those foods, to also being able to enjoy the company that you're with. And that makes your quality of life so much better. And when you are not so stressed out about your quality of life or food, stress plays a huge factor in your health. And so if being able to enjoy food and enjoy company and enjoy events and, enjoy the fact that food is everywhere. If that makes you less stressed, then that's also going to make you healthier. So one reason is because food is everywhere. Like I said, that is one reason why you should really get a handle on it, because it's not like it's just a once a week situation where you struggle with the idea of food. It's every day. Every single day you think about food, and it plays a toll on, what am I going to feed my family? What am I going to eat for dinner? What fits my macros? What's clean? What's whole foods? What's on my diet? What's in my meal plan? What's on the food list? Like, it'll consume you if you're not careful. And so the fact that it can consume you should alarm you. And it is a reason why you should have a healthy relationship with food. Number 2 is it affects your family. My husband and I actually had a conversation recently about, we were to have for dinner, and he mentioned a meal. I don't know what it was. I mean, we kind of looked at each other and we were like, do you realize it's been years since we've had that food? Years. And I think he was like, yeah, I know, it's been a really long time. And I had never shared with him my struggle of when we were first doing P90X and we were first doing our meal plan and all of the things to get healthy and eating off this food list and all this ridiculous shit. I had never really shared with him how hard that was for me as a mom to be able to incorporate my goals of eating off this food list and not being able to make meals. And it really was hard. And anyway, I was like, the reason we haven't eaten that meal in years is because I never really learned how to incorporate food into our family. And he was like, God, you're right. Like, I never really thought about that. So I actually went ahead and explained, like, when we were doing this workout program, we had a list of foods that we could eat from. Him and I would even say things back then like, well, I have different goals than my kids. So of course we don't eat the same dinner. Like, of course my family doesn't sit down and have a dinner together because my kids don't eat what I eat. Basically, like, I eat healthy. I have goals to look a certain way. My kids don't. It was almost like, how dare you assume that like my family would eat what I eat, which is crazy. But yeah, basically I did not know. I had no awareness, no knowledge. All I was doing was following this food list. And I would make our dinners, my husband and I, whatever we would eat, I would make off of this food list. And my kids, it was basically like a free-for-all because I didn't understand food. I was like, well, they can just eat like whatever normal people eat. Like, what do kids eat? They eat macaroni and cheese. Like, I don't care what they eat. Like, they don't have physical goals. It was just so alarming when I say it out loud like that. But when we were thinking back on it, and I was explaining, like, that's why we never really had family dinners. That's why we didn't eat the same foods as our kids. That's why we hadn't had things like lasagna or, God, I'm trying to think of some other things. We talked about beef and biscuits or sloppy joes, particularly the ones that you make with ground beef and cream of mushroom soup. Oh my God, so good. But and I'm not saying you can't have those things. I'll eat whatever I want now. But then, like, cream of mushroom soup was not on my food list from, this workout program. So it's just like some of those meals that are freaking fine, right? They're carbs, but like, we couldn't have them. So we didn't have quote unquote normal dinners for so long. And this affected my family. Like, this affected the fact that we didn't have sit down dinners, that we ate completely separate foods than our children. And that alone is just crazy. We probably could have sat down at the table, right, and ate something separate. But the fact that my kids had to see me eating completely different foods than they did, that they had to see me eating like broccoli, rice, chicken out of a Tupperware container that I prepped 12 containers at a time of, if I were to keep going like that, if my kids at 14 and 17 right now were to look at me and see me eating like this, my daughter would have such a misconstrued view of food. And thank God they don't right now. But because I've done the work to get out of that. But this affects your family. This affects your children. Mamas, for me, this was huge. To have a teenage daughter, she's 17 now, but this was a few years ago that I really started to look at myself and be like, wow, I am looking in the mirror, picking apart my body, talking about foods I can't have, all the things, and thinking, this is what my daughter is watching. Like, this is what she's seeing. And she would pick her body apart. And I couldn't say, stop doing that. Stop talking negatively about your body, because I was doing the same thing. As a mom, of a daughter, it was alarming to me. And I had to be like, you need to make a change. You need to be very careful about what you're saying about your body, Christy. You need to be very careful about what you're saying about food. You need to educate yourself. You need to educate her. And so the fact that having a healthy relationship with food for yourself can affect your family positively, and it can affect your children positively, that for me was huge. I want my kids to see that, especially for me, like right now, for example, my kids get to see that I work out even when I don't want to. I will say to them, I do not want to go work out right now, but I'm going out to the garage. I'll see you guys in an hour. Let me know if you need anything. They see me out there working hard. They see the body that I have. They see me working hard for it. They see me putting in the time and the effort. They see me eating foods that they eat. So they now know that, like, okay, I can eat, this. I can eat pretty much anything. My mom can go to dinner with us. Like, she can go to the restaurant. She can eat popcorn at the movies. Like, my mom doesn't say no to very many foods, let's be honest. But she puts in the time. She puts in the work. So that's very attainable for them now. And it's healthy for them. So that's another reason why you should really, really work on having a healthy relationship with food. Even if having a healthy relationship with food means you get to eat, more carbs and more things that you necessarily didn't think was possible for you to lose weight, that might cause you to lose weight a little slower, ladies. The fact that you get to eat some Oreos and some Reese's and some pizza, that might cause you to lose weight a little bit slower if weight loss is your only goal, which it shouldn't be. But having a healthy relationship with food will give you a better body overall, and it will help so many people. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Actually, you'll love your body more, and that's my next point. But I know some of you are saying, like, oh my gosh, if I learn how to like actually enjoy, quote unquote bad foods like that, I can't lose weight like that. You can. It will just come off a little bit differently than it would if you're restricting everything in sight, which isn't a great way to lose weight either. Anyway, that's another day. Number 3 reason is, and the last reason for this episode is, if you don't understand food and you aren't able to enjoy food, if you don't have a healthy relationship with food, you will never have the body that you want. Period. And let me explain. It's just not possible to have the body that you want physically if you don't understand food. And also, if you don't enjoy the process as to how you build your body, you won't appreciate it when you have it. I've been there, and maybe some of you have as well. I remember eating off of this food list, eating out of containers, working my ass off, working out 7 days a week, eating off food list. This was obsessive. I was consumed with how I was eating, how many times I was working out, looking in the mirror. We would work out and we'd come straight upstairs and look in the mirror to see like what progress we made physically in that hour. It was crazy. And I looked good. I loved the body that I had, but I almost resented it because of how freaking hard and unsustainable it was. So I don't even know that was the body I wanted, because I would look in the mirror and see myself and be like, wow, yeah, I look really good. Like, I'm looking really strong. I look awesome right now. Like, my body is changing, but this is so hard. Like, I don't think this is the body that I want after all. And that's what happens when you think it's not sustainable. You resent the process. You like hate it. You're like, this is so crazy. It's consuming my life. It's obsessive. Is this the body that I even want? Like, maybe I'm okay being overweight. I think that you've probably had those thoughts. I've had those thoughts before. Like, maybe I'm fine the way that I was before I even started this workout program. It's so terrible. If you don't understand food, if you don't have a healthy relationship with food, you'll never have the body that you want, because you don't understand how to even get the body that you want. So you'll never have it. On top of that, carbs help you build the body that you want. Carbs are fuel. So for my ladies, when they come to me and they don't understand that, but they want this certain body, they want to look strong, they want to look toned, they want to, they have these certain body goals, and so did I. Carbs help you build that. You can't have the body that you want by running on the treadmill day after day after day and not eating carbs. I'm just going to tell you right now, that is not the body that you want. Not only physically, that's not the body that you want, because you'll just be skinny fat. a skinnier version of yourself, but it's not the body that you want because you'll hate how you got it. Like I just said, you have to view carbs as something good. My clients, after a while of working with me, if they either overeat on carbs, they're like, oh, I'm doing leg day tomorrow because that's energy for tomorrow's workout. I'm going to put those calories to use. And like that in itself is amazing. When I have a client who finally is like, oh, I had a birthday party over the weekend, so I'm going to swap my leg day to Monday so that I can use those calories. Nothing makes me happier than to hear a woman say, I'm going to use those calories. Like I overate, I had pizza and cake and beer, Christy, in one day, and I'm going to fuel my leg day with it. Like that is how you understand, enjoy food, have a healthy relationship with food, and you use those calories in a way that you understand and that works for your body. That's how you get the body that you want. I mean that physically, so like you're proud of yourself. And I also mean that mentally of like, I really like my body right now because I understand how I got it and I fueled it with foods that I enjoy. And so they do go together. Understanding and having a healthy relationship with food will give you the body that you want if you are working out correctly, of course, but like putting those foods to use. So enjoying the process of how you build your body makes you appreciate it. When you do have a healthy relationship with food, your body looks different because you're giving it what it needs. Your digestion is better. Your hormones are better. Your metabolism is better. You feel better. So you just appreciate the food. You appreciate your body. You appreciate the movement, and everything kind of comes together. So that last one is very, very important. You won't have the body that you want without having a healthy relationship with food. Physically and or mentally, you won't be able to appreciate it without having that healthy relationship with food. So those are the three things. To go over them one more time, food is everywhere, so you might as well learn to appreciate it and understand it. It does affect your family when you don't have a healthy relationship with food. And when you do have a healthy relationship with food, it affects your family in a great, great way. And also, if you don't understand and you aren't able to enjoy food and how it works for you, you will never have the body that you want. So those were the topics for today. I hope that was so helpful for you. I will probably elaborate on this or do more episodes, part 2, part 3 of this topic, because there are so many reasons why having a healthy relationship with food is important, obviously. And my clients remind me of that all the time when they'll tell me wins. And I'm thinking, yes, that is a great reason, or, a great win, I guess, as well. They don't really say it as a reason, but they'll say like, this is my win for the week. I was able to go out and XYZ, and they tell me something and I'm like, oh, that is such a good reason to like also have a healthy relationship with food. Like this is affecting my clients in a positive way because I think it's important for you. And these different reasons will hit you in a different way, right? If you are not a mom yet, you're not going to really care that like this can affect your family, right? Your children, but it is good to think about. I mean, even if you are thinking about having a family someday, it's important for you to say like, that's a really good reason to become healthy physically so you can carry a baby, but not only that, to raise a healthy baby and raise healthy teenagers who also have a healthy relationship with food. So I know that not every point that I bring up is going to hit everyone. That's why I want to bring up different points, but these are the ones for today. I think they're amazing. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will talk to you next week. Thanks for listening to today's show. Go ahead and leave a rating and a review. And of course, follow the podcast so you don't miss out on any future episodes. And I would love it so much if you came to connect with me over on Instagram at Christy Castillo Fit. I will see you next time.